Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha with Ice Cream Fitness here. Once again, it is time for the Monday Q&As, and today I'm only going to do one Q&A video because I'm a bit tired and I did a lot of filming earlier today of my max effort squat and deadlift session, which I'm going to try to get up for you guys tomorrow. So I've got a lot of video editing to do. But here's a sample. Alright, but before I get to these questions, let me give you guys a bicep shot. And let's get to it. First question. How much do hormone level fluctuations within a physiologically normal range affect gains? For instance, will an individual with suboptimal hormone levels, i.e. the low end of the normal range but not clinically low, still be able to make good gains? And how much better would the gains of a trainee with hormones at the high end of the range be? Alright, this is a very good question, and I do like to highlight the point that acute fluctuations in hormone levels have never been found to impact muscle growth, meaning insulin spikes post-workout for non-fasted people who didn't do 3 hours of endurance training, or boosts in testosterone from products that boost at 20 or 25%, particularly if it's only a short boost, a limited period of time. In fact, if you were to double your testosterone levels for only 1 hour per day post-workout, according to all the data, it wouldn't affect muscle gains at all. So acute fluctuations do not matter. Now, being inside the normal range, when you get to the extremes it matters, but anywhere near the normal, it's not going to impact it. And what I mean is, if someone is at the very low end of the testosterone range, let's say they're down to around 350 nanograms per deciliter, they're not quite qualifying for TRT, but they are low, yeah, they're going to gain a little less muscle than someone in the middle range. But if someone is up at 400 or 450 and they were to boost it 25%, they wouldn't see a measurable change in muscle mass gains as a result of their training. Now, when we get to the other extreme, yeah, we do see some benefits too. People who have 800, 900, 1,000 nanograms per deciliter of testosterone naturally, oh yeah, they'll see more gains, but we're not talking triple gains. They're not going to see steroid-like gains, but they are going to gain muscle a little faster than other people due to that. But that's only at the extreme end of the range, and so you can't control that outside of drugs. All the over-the-counter products that impact these things don't impact them enough to make what we would consider a significant change. If you take an over-the-counter product and it boosts your testosterone 20%, or you do the no-fat thing and it boosts it 10 or 15%, that is not enough to see a difference in muscle gains. And it's the same with things like growth hormone. Growth hormone levels within the normal range don't impact it at all. The extreme ends do not seem to make any difference. It's only when you start injecting it, or you reach very elderly-like levels when you're 55 or 60 and you're not putting anything back into your body, it makes a difference. But for people inside the normal healthy range, even on the extreme ends, no different. Insulin is a little different. The more insulinogenic activity you have, assuming insulin sensitivity is there, does impact muscle gains positively. So that one it does, but that's more a product of just how much carbs and protein you eat, because outside of your training, which impacts it, the only control you have over that really is carbs and protein. And protein produces just as much insulin as carbs do. So they're both going to give you better gains if you're eating a lot of them in your diet. So I hope that covers that. All right, next question. I've been hitting my arms hard Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for 2 months, making gains, but people keep telling me it's too much. Can it be harmful in any way? I'm feeling fine and getting stronger. If your arms are getting stronger, if your compounds are getting stronger, and your isolation movements for your arms are getting stronger, keep doing what you are doing. The only time you would want to back off on that is if you're experiencing connective tissue pain or joint pain or something like that in your elbows or wrists or your shoulder joints as a result of doing too much direct arm work, or doing it too frequently at least. But high frequency training in drug-free lifters has been shown over and over and over to produce superior muscle gains through muscle protein synthesis. So if you're recovering from it just fine, then keep doing it unless you start getting joint or connective tissue pain. I don't see any problem there. All right, next question. Most elite level powerlifters deadlift with a rounded upper back. Some even lift with a rounded lumbar. Is this a case of form breakdown at maximum loads, or is there another reason behind it? And how are they not snapping their shit up in doing so? Yes, lumbar rounding can be a problem. I don't agree with it as a method, the lower lumbar, even though some guys get away with it. But as far as thoracic rounding, which is rounding of the upper back, that is an advanced powerlifting technique to squeeze 10 or 15 more pounds out of your deadlift. So for an advanced lifter, it can be good. And how do you avoid snapping your shit up? Well, quite frankly, because most powerlifters do insane amounts of work to build up their thoracic erectors, which you guys will see as I incorporate more of my training. You guys will see how much stuff I do to put extra load on the top and do various things like safety bar squats and accommodating resistance on good mornings and all sorts of things to just build up my thoracic erectors. And most powerlifters do that. They simply build up all the support muscles around that to the point to where they can round their upper back safely with 600, 700, 800 pounds on the deadlift without ever getting an injury. And you very rarely see back injuries among serious powerlifters. And that's why what you see are bicep tears would be the most common injury you see from the deadlifting. You don't see them hurt their backs because they build up all of the support muscles to get away with those things. All right, next question. Do you pre-pick the topics for your next video the day before, or do you pick it that morning and just shoot it all in the same morning? I have a couple different strategies for that, honestly. I kind of have stopped doing this recently, but for a while what I would do is I would keep a running list of different topics I wanted to cover or questions people would ask, and I would keep about 20 of them, and I would go through sometimes the morning I was going to do a video and just pull something off that list, whatever I was in the mood for, off of that list. And I would try to keep about 15 to 20 things on there, and I would update it every couple days. Sometimes I have pre-planned videos and said, yes, this week I want to make 2 different videos on these topics, and I'll figure out where to work them in the week, and I might put some extra thought into them. Sometimes I'll go back and do research ahead of time because I might need to read a bunch of studies, peer reviews, do some digging, look at some anatomy and physiology and things before I make those videos. So those do require some pre-planning, but oftentimes, very frequently, and I would say at least 4 to 5 days a week, I just read through my comments, I read through my private messages and things that you guys send me, and I just pick a question that someone has or a topic that someone has, and I go, you know, I know enough about that topic that I can make an absolutely accurate video on it without doing any extra work or research, and I just come over to the computer and I start filming, and I don't do any pre-planning. For at least half of my videos, I do them on the fly, sometimes 3 minutes after I read the question or idea, and I just go, that's it, that's what I want to do my video on, and I walk over and I film it right there on the spot. All right, next question. Is it possible to regain muscle size on a cut following a month of inactivity due to illness? Full body 3 times a week, 3x5 main lifts, 20% deficit, meeting macros. If you pull out that deficit, then yes, but if you take a month off from lifting and you detrain and you think you're going to regain it all of muscle memory easily at a 20% deficit, I got news for you. You might, but you probably will not, and you might even lose more. Because that's just the way cutting goes. Sometimes at a 20% deficit, you lose a little muscle and strength almost no matter what you do. Some people do, some people don't. Now, if you were eating, say at a small surplus, a 10% surplus in bulking, and you were to come in and train hard, I would say that you can regain everything that you lost from a month of being in bed sick inside of another month of training and be right back where you were, 3-4 weeks, absolutely. But you need to be supplying your body with the fuel to rebuild that muscle easier. That would be the most optimal way to do so. All right, last question. Can you give an example of someone who has a great physique, big and lean, who attained it without using doping? This is going to rub some people's fur the wrong way because you guys know that I talk a lot about drug testing, and in today's world, you literally cannot take any person and use them as a natural example. Simply because drugs are so massively easy available, so many millions of people use them, and there's no effective way to test for them. Literally, I could juice my fucking brains out and I could walk into any drug-free powerlifting meet or any natural bodybuilding show and know with 100% certainty that I'm going to pass the drug test clean, even if I ran 3 or 4 grams a year, 11 months out of the year, insulin, HGH, and I spent $50,000 doing so. Every year I could still walk in and pass that test. No problem. So you can't use anyone in this current era, and there are legitimate naturals who compete. I have no doubt about that in my mind. I'm absolutely certain that there are people winning some natural bodybuilding shows who are drug free, but I can't always tell who they are. And a whole lot of them I can tell are on, and I'm not calling anybody out. I will not do that. It's not part of my deal. But you cannot use anybody today for those reasons. So I would like to go back to previous eras, and I'm going to pin down someone I'm going to say is going to be Steve Reeves. I think that is an example, and it had a lot to do with, one, the era that he got started in. Even though the stuff was starting to become available, he was very, very outspoken about it back then, before we had this push towards natural. No one cared if you were natural back then. It wouldn't have been looked down upon had he used, but he was outspoken against it because he felt it was not what bodybuilding was about. And so I'm going to say Steve Reeves, and he was absolutely considered to be the best bodybuilder in the world at one time. So you combine that together, I'm going to say that is a perfect example of someone who was big, strong, lean, and aesthetic, who did it naturally. And I would say that if you are a true natural, that is something to aspire to, would be a Steve Reeves type physique. Alright guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you next time.